Hi everyone, it's Thursday, March the 5th, 2018, and I have a letter here. It's, I guess 7 years old. It's written by Josh. It was for leniency in Schaeffer Cox's trial for his judge. And this is one of, I think there were hundreds of letters written to the judge for leniency. But obviously that didn't work out very well. Anyway, I'm encouraging people to write more letters, and this is an example of one from bygone days, as Texas Deacon would say. Okay, here it goes. To whom it may concern, my name is Josh, and Francis Schaeffer Cox is my friend. As a friend, I've always been there for him when he needed someone. I haven't always agreed with everything Schaeffer has said and done, but I have always been someone he could count on. Sometimes that includes lending him some sound and sometimes harsh advice when I felt he needed it. I am writing this letter in hopes to convey Schaeffer's true nature and character. Schaeffer can be a little trying at times, I know, but I also feel that Schaeffer is truly a good person. I currently live at Alaska. I work as a firefighter paramedic at the fire department and have been a paramedic for just over 10 years, so I guess it would be like 17 years ago, and a firefighter since 1998. I'm a Bible-believing Christian, and I believe Schaeffer is to be the same. I believe Schaeffer to be the same. When I first met Schaeffer, I was working for the Fairbanks Fire Department. I began attending University Baptist Church, where Schaeffer's father is the preacher. Shortly thereafter, Schaeffer and Marty began courting and eventually landed a job working for Castle Rock Storage in Fairbanks. At this time, Marty was living in the apartment above the office, and Schaeffer was still living at home. When Schaeffer and Marty decided to get married in Hawaii, they needed somebody to manage the storage business in their stead. My wife and I immediately volunteered to help them out, and our friendship grew stronger from that point on. When they returned, I watched Schaeffer and Marty run Castle Rock Storage with almost no oversight from the owner. They ran the business as if it were their own. They made the business prosper. They took charge of all the advertising, media, and maintenance. When it became obvious to them they needed to move on, I was there again to help my friend. My wife and I lived in a dry cabin with a small, probably 8x8 room attached in the rear. While it wasn't a lot, I opened up my home and gave them a place to live for as long as they needed it. They lived with us for about 6 months. During this time, they developed a plan to start some businesses and buy a house. Aside from normal newlywed growing pains, I never witnessed any harsh words between the two of them. We ate together, played together, and laughed together. We were probably about as close as 4 adult friends could be. Before Schaeffer had any real political aspirations, we used to joke over breakfast about how we could be the next powerful politicians and businessmen. When he told me about how he was going to run against Mike Kelly, I was very excited for him. His slogan, "A Voice for a Reason," was something we came up with together over breakfast one morning. When he lost the election, he never gave up. Instead of sulking away in defeat, he dug in and became politically active within the Republican Party and other conservative groups. After a couple of years of living in Fairbanks, I moved to Anchorage to work for the Anchorage Fire Department. I wasn't able to sell my cabin at the time, so I had to rent it out. Whenever I needed anything, he never hesitated to lend me a hand. This includes a time when I was deployed with the Air National Guard to Kirkuk, Iraq. 2 of our Toyo oil drip heaters were stolen, and fuel oil ruined the entire floor and subfloor of one of them. Schaeffer, while busy with his own construction projects, took the time to repair the damage for us at minimal cost. He was one of those friends I knew I could always depend on. It is hard to stay friends with someone when they are 400 miles away, too. But Schaeffer and I managed to do it. I would drive to Fairbanks and he would drive to Anchorage. We probably visited each other on an average every 3 or 4 months. During this time, I watched Schaeffer turn into a powerful force for good. We used to share books with each other and make grander plans to create businesses together, buy properties, and spread the Bible to the world. I wasn't able to be there when his son Seth was born, but it wasn't long before we were making the voyage up to meet him and congratulate them. When he spoke about Seth, I could tell his whole life was about to get better. He began to see life was bigger than himself. Schaeffer would have done anything to protect his family. Over the past 10 years of knowing Schaeffer, I have gotten to know him very well. Schaeffer is a smart and hard-working man. I'm sure he could have done just about anything he wanted to in life. Schaeffer is a very passionate person, and sometimes he can be misunderstood. Yes, he can be loud and in your face at times, but that is just the way he is. He wants everyone to hear his side of a debate and be able to judge a matter for themselves. Schaeffer is a great provider for his family. Since he moved out of my cabin, he has never asked for any kind of charity. If he needed more money, he would identify a need, make changes, then figure out how to fund it. He started with general construction and moved to lawn care. He began falling trees and eventually started plowing snow. I visited Schaeffer several times during his stay at the Anchorage Correctional Complex, and just as I have seen Schaeffer transform into a great man, husband, and father, I have also seen him transform into a humble, broken man. Schaeffer knows he has done and said some things that were unethical and some illegal. The last time I saw him, he broke into tears when we spoke of some of those things. He said if he is going to be convicted of the things he has said, then he would rather have his larynx cut out so he could just be with his family. We will never speak of them again. He will never speak of them again. If it was something he did, he would willingly cut off his arms. Just the talk of him missing his children's formidable years caused him to break into tears again. I believe him when he says he would give anything to be with his family again. Judge, if there is any way to grant this man leniency, then allow it. Schaeffer is a man who is at the bottom. Schaeffer is no killer. Schaeffer is a man of peace. When he realized things were getting out of control, he wanted to leave the spotlight and let things settle. Schaeffer didn't want anything to do with hurting people, and if people were going to use his name for this cause, he didn't want anything to do with it. He may have some odd ways of accomplishing things, but there is a method to it all. You just have to take the time to understand him. Thank you for your willingness to read my plea. I love Schaeffer, and I am here for him again as his friend. Sincerely, Josh. Wow. That's a really nice letter, and I asked Josh if he would update it a bit maybe and send it to Schaeffer or the lawyer for resentencing. And if you would like, you can send your own letter. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your prayers. God bless. Good night.